Before I showed you this page, but I didn't show you how to get to it. So this is a demonstration of how you can populate the unassigned test codes by looking at the station and the year. So we can type in the name of a station or station ID into this box up here. So let's type in Spokane, Washington, and you can see that it auto-completes. You can also use the station ID. So the station ID for West Haven is 689. And that'll find it for us. And then we type in a year to review, say 2005, and we hit the update button, and it'll retrieve this data for us and show us the unassigned codes. Another way to do this, and there are a few, is to go to this page and do it by name. So here's find test by original name. So this will search all the test names in the VA database that match a particular string. So we can type in something like A1C and we search, and it'll go through, find all the test names. So here we have a number of different hemoglobin A1C tests at these various sites. So for instance, just to show you what the data here is, this is the test name, specimen type. This is the test identifier, which is a unique identifier based on the name and the specimen type. Here's the local ID that's given to that. Local topography SID is also called specimen ID, and that's already been mapped to this LOINC code, and this is the years that this test is in use. If we go down to some of the other ones, we can see basically the same data here. Here's a code that's unassigned, and that'll give us an example to look for. So if we look through this and we find codes that are unassigned, we can click on them here. An alternative way to do it, if you want to find all tests that match this string that are unassigned, is simply to go to Options and then click on Add All Unmapped Tests, and it'll go through the list and highlight every one that is unmapped at the current time. So now that we have this test mapped, we'll click on the Map button, and that'll take us to the code assignment page after it does some internal calculations to figure out exactly the data we need. Okay, cool. So here we have the standard display, and you can see here that we have the original name that was on the previous page, and that doesn't have a test map yet. It just has the same name. And you can see here that the concept isn't mapped to the correct one. So hepatitis C is not the same as A1C, and there can be various reasons for that, but one of the easy ways we can fix it is just renaming it. So if we go down here at the bottom, we can rename that test to this string and just hit rename, and it's going to update the template, and now it finds that hemoglobin A1C matches this word in the dictionary. So these tests have to map to each other. And so this is the original name. That's here. The map name is here, and then this is the recognized concept in the dictionary of all synonyms related to this overall concept. So this is the VA name, this is the concept, and these match each other, so we're good. And then we can see here we have serum, and it doesn't quite match blood. They don't always. Sometimes it goes the other way, where something says blood and the other one says serum, or vice versa. And you may want to change that depending on the specifications of your particular project. But here we'll accept that hemoglobin A1C should be run in blood, not serum. That's probably just an incorrect specimen type. Here we look at the result type, and it says general, which is interesting because you would expect that this would be a numeric result, but it's not. So that's an issue, and we can see down in the scoring column that neither the specimen nor the result have seen any points yet. For the unit, we have a match, and that's both percent in each, so that's given a 1. And then for the quantitative score, we don't have a median here, which is interesting, but not surprising because the general result was given, not a numeric. So in this case, you might be wondering, why is there not a number here, and why is this mapped to general? So fortunately, we have built into the GUI here a way to look at the example results for a test. And by clicking on that, we can see here's the prior LOINC code for this. Here's the results that were given to that test, the unit, and then the number that they were found. So basically, this just has two canceled tests underneath this identifier. So not a very useful test, and that sort of clears up the reason why the median value is missing. So looking here, we can see that it has a low score, and probably the best match is hemoglobin A1C, but it's not a very useful match because there's not really any data there. But it does give you a good overview of how you can look up code assignments by name, and then a little bit more detail on how the assignment process works.